Good morning, guys. Welcome to another maths lesson. Today, our number starter is to again practice your times tables and make sure that your fluency with these is really, really good. You want to be able to recall these off the top of your head. Our learning intention for today is to multiply large numbers by 1 or 2 digit numbers. Our success criteria is I know how to set out a vertical multiplication equation, I know my times table facts, and I can check the reasonability of my answer. The written strategies that we already know for multiplication are the grid method from earlier in the week, and you might know some other visual or mental ones as well. I'm going to be teaching you a kind of a formal written method today, which you might see most adults using, probably the way that your parents know how to do, in both an expanded and a compact way. Just before we get started, these are your mathletics tasks for today. If you are doing mathletics, there's 2 activities each and 1 quest. So today we're going to practice vertical method. This is a written method of multiplication that can help you multiply really big numbers quickly. All you need to know is your times table facts and about place value. A couple of things that are really key to remember. Line up your place value columns neatly. Use a multiplication square or times table facts you already know to help you. Don't forget to add any numbers you carry or exchange. I'm going to be using the terminology exchange today. And use 0 as a placeholder when you need to. And you'll see where that's key. All right, guys, the first example that I'm going to show you today is of a vertical expanded method. Now, this is different to the compact method because you don't actually have to do any exchanging when you're multiplying, and you can really see the place value of each number as you've multiplied it. My first question is 983 times by 5. I'm going to set it out like you might have seen vertical methods we set out previously in the past, with my biggest number on top and definitely the 1-digit number, the smaller number, on the bottom here like this. My first step is to multiply the units. I'm going to multiply the 1-digit number by the ones number in my 3-digit number, the bigger number. So I'm going to say this is 5 times 3. And I know that's 15. So I'm going to put 15 here because I know that 15 is made up of 5 ones and 1 10. So the 10's actually going to go here. My next step is to multiply the tens number. And because this 8 represents 8 tens, I can think of it as 5 times 80, or I can think of it as 5 times 8, which is 40, and then make that 10 times bigger, like we have been doing, and make it 400. So now I've written 400 down here with my other answer. The 4 is in the hundreds column because it represents 400. And like you can see, I haven't done any exchanging yet. My next step is to multiply 5 by the hundreds number, which is 9. It represents 9 hundreds. I can think of it as 5 times 900, or I can think of it as 5 times 9, which is 45, and then make that answer 100 times bigger. Now I have a thousands column. And my final step in this multiplication will be to add these answers together. Can you see how it's kind of similar to the grid method that we did the other day? Lastly, I do 5, 1, 9, 5. So my answer to 983 times 5 is 4,915. All right, guys, the next example that I'm going to show you is with 239 times 6. I'm going to show you using an expanded method again. First of all, I set out my multiplication equation like this. This is where it's really important to make sure that your place value columns are all really neat and lined up. I'd suggest if you've got a squared workbook at home that you get into the habit of using 1 number per square when you're working these problems out, and you're going to times it by 6. which is only a ones number, so it belongs in that ones column. Okay. My first step will be to times the ones. Now 9 times 6 is 54. So I'm going to write the 4 here. And you might like to remind yourself, you don't have to do this, but I'm going to put on the side here what my question was, how I got that answer. Looks a bit like a 9. The next step is to multiply the 6 by 30, as that 3 represents 3 tens, so 30. 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 30 is 180. My next step is to multiply the hundreds number, so 6 times 2, or 200. 6 times 2 is 12, which means that 6 times 20 is 1,200. And that's just so you can see how I've got that answer. Then my final step is to add up all my answers at the end. Again, really important that you've lined up your place value column so you don't add the wrong number in the wrong column. I will need to do some exchanging here, but that's fine. And my answer is 1,434. The next example I'm going to show you is with 473 times 5. And I'm going to do this one in both the expanded and the compact method so that you can see that you get the same exact answer both times, no matter what method you use, as long as you do it correctly. So I set my multiplication sum out. And I start by multiplying the ones. 3 times 5 is 15. And I'm doing the expanded method first. 5 times 70 is my next one. 70 times 5. I know that 5 times 7 is 35, so I know that 5 times 70 is 350. My next sum is to work out what 5 times 400 is, or 400 times 5. I know that 5 times 4 is 20, so I know that to make that 100 times bigger, it's going to be 2,000. I'm going to add all those up together. Now, let's use the compact method to see if I've got that correct. The compact method is set out exactly the same as the vertical method. We start with our biggest number on the top and the 1-digit number that we are multiplying with underneath. My first step is still the same as is the second, or actually not the second. The first step is the same, 3 times 5, okay? But instead of writing the whole number 15 down here, what I do is I put the 1 in the ones number, and the tens number I actually put into the tens column, okay? And I'm gonna add that when I multiply the tens. So the next step is to do 5 times 70 and then add 10, okay? Because I need to add that extra 10 that I exchanged from the ones column. 5 times 70 is 350, plus 10 is 360. Now I can't put 360 in the tens column and I can't go into the hundreds column yet because I haven't multiplied that. So I'm going to leave the tens number in 360, which is 6. And I'm going to put the 3, the number which represents the hundreds, into the hundreds column because that's where it actually belongs. And I'll plus that when I times the hundreds. Okay. 5 times 400 is 2,000. We know that. And we need to add 3 on top of that, or 300, sorry, 2,300. Now I can just write that in here because this is my thousands column and this is my hundreds column. And I've got the same answer. Hopefully that made some sense for you. I'm going to quickly show you another example using the compact method so that you can become familiar with that. I'm going to work out what 782 times 3 is. Like I said, we set it out exactly the same. And we still start with our ones column. 3 times 2 is 6. Then we multiply our tens number. So 3 times 8, or we need to think of it probably as 3 times 80. So 3 times 80 is 240. Now I can't put the hundreds in just yet because I haven't multiplied the hundreds. So I'm going to leave the tens number from 240 in the tens column. And I'm going to multiply 3 by 7. Oh, no. I'm going to put the 200s in here ready to add later. When I multiply 3 by 700, I get 2,100. And I know that I need to add the 2 extra hundreds on there. So that will equal 2,300. Now I can just add the 3 into the hundreds column, and I need to make a thousands column for the 2. 2,346. All right, guys, I'm going to show you quickly one last example, which is of a 3-digit number times by a 2-digit number. Okay, and we set it out slightly different with, well, actually not really, when we come to timesing the tens number, then when we do. I'm going to show you using the compact method first of all. We do the same thing as we normally would do for timesing by a 1-digit number. So we start with 4 times 5, which is 20. That doesn't go in the ones column. So I'm going to put the 2 tens up here in the tens column. Then I'm going to do 5 times 30, which is 150, plus 20, which is 170. The 100 I'm going to put up here in the hundreds column. 5 times 400 is 2,000, plus 100 is going to be 2,100. So that's going to fit in nicely there. Then what I need to do is I'm going to take a 0 underneath in the ones column, and I'm going to times everything in the top number by 2. Okay, technically I'm timesing it by 20, but by putting this 0 down here, it makes it easier for me to actually just times these numbers by 2, because I've already made all the answers 10 times bigger by putting a little placeholder 0 in there. So 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 3 is 6, and 2 times 4 is 8. Okay, then like when we did the expanded method, you need to plus everything together. 10,850. All right, I know I keep saying this is the last one, but this is genuinely the last one because I'm going to run out of time. I'm going to say that I'm timesing a 2-digit number by a 2-digit number just to show you guys the expanded method of timesing by 2-digit numbers. So 2 times 3 is 6. I'm going to show you what I'm doing on this side as well. 2 times 40, so 80. Then I'm timesing 30, because it's 3 tens, by 3, which is 90. And then 30 by 40, which is, oh, this is why place value, lining up your place value columns is really important. 1,200. Then same again, you just add them up like we have been doing in the expanded method. Okay, hopefully that's a little bit clearer.